It's finally hate week. We got Michigan State versus Michigan taking place in East Lansing. Late night kick once again, 7:30. We don't know exactly what Michigan State will be wearing. Could be the black uniforms, could be the all greens. I know a lot of people want to see the all greens for Michigan State. Obviously, Michigan's going to go with the probably traditional road uniforms, all that kind of stuff. Not a ton of momentum, not a ton of excitement. It truly seems to be going on in this game, but obviously it's a rivalry game. Obviously, fans are probably getting more excited as we get closer, which is why we're doing it right now. So obviously, we have to talk about Michigan State, 14.5 point favorites for Michigan going in this game. What are your thoughts on this matchup, Liam? Where are you feeling about how things are, and are you even hyped for this game as of yet?
Yeah. Yeah. I am just because I can't stand anything maize, anything blue. I can't. No, yes, I'm excited for this game. I am incredibly disappointed that the preseason spread of 8.5 has ballooned to 14.5 when Michigan hasn't even been impressive. So that kind of shows you what they think of Michigan State, and how can you blame the smarter people than me and you who reside in Las Vegas. But yeah, no, I'm definitely excited. I'm happy it's a night game. Uh, I just hope we can do something magical, man, and on the state side.
Yeah, and honestly, it wouldn't surprise me if Michigan State lost, if Jonathan Smith somehow did another backdoor cover. It seems like he loves doing backdoor covers at the end of every single game. There's a little bit
Yeah,
of
actually, what the
controversy
hell?
regarding that after Indiana. I know a lot
It's
of people think that he did that on purpose. I don't necessarily know,
yeah,
but just be careful of a backdoor cover in this game.
it's because of all it's because of the first 3 games of the year we didn't cover once, so he had to he had some donors betting on us that were angry or something. He had to get him back. He had to get it back for him.
Yeah, probably, but probably really not. But
No,
obviously,
yeah.
there's a little bit of a rivalry. There's obviously a lot of hate for each other, and you could truly tell what this rivalry means to both of these teams, to both of these coaches. You had Jonathan Smith saying some pretty strong quotes, saying kind of things that Michigan State fans wanted to hear, showing a little bit more
Yeah.
fire than he has this year, basically saying, hey, this is the biggest game. This is a real true opportunity to galvanize this team. And then you have Sharon Moore talking about that this is the biggest game of the year for them, which I know actually probably got a few Michigan fans a little upset about
Yeah,
that because
because
they
we aren't
think Ohio
rivals.
State is a bigger rivalry than Michigan, but we aren't talking Michigan, Ohio State. We're talking about MSU, Michigan. This is a game. These are two teams that can't stand each other, and you've truly seen it the last few years.
Yeah, no, I'm glad Sharon said that for the portion of the Michigan fan base that tries to act like the 2 schools aren't rivals. I mean, I think Smith said all the right things, honestly. Like I was pretty excited, pretty satisfied, I guess, with what he was saying, and yeah, obviously Coach Moore didn't try to minimize the effect of anything either. So you never know, man. I mean, you never know when there are
Yeah.
2 teams, and Michigan doesn't really have like a crazy amount of pressure, but they have way more pressure than MSU. I mean, State's basically playing with a dead coaching staff unless this game sparks another year, another 2, like, you know what I mean? So I don't know. It'll be interesting to see, man. It'll be I think it'll be competitive. I really unbiasedly think it'll be competitive. I think State is better than they've played. Last
Yeah.
week was a bit better. I
I
I
think
just like
Aiden Childs has a little bit more confidence. I don't think if last week happened where you saw him have a decent game, especially when it comes to completion percentage and
yeah.
really making plays, I think we could make a complete argument that this game has no chance for MSU. But I think last year kind of gained a little bit of confidence that Aiden Childs can lead this team to a win, and I think he's going to really need to in this one.
Yeah, and I mean, the Indiana game was such a weird measuring sticks. Like, I mean, if you want to talk common opponents, correct me if I'm just totally blanking, but the only common opponent would be Nebraska, correct?
Correct. That I know of.
And I mean, yeah, State lost by 11 at the end and scored another late touchdown to backdoor cover, but they were also up by a touchdown with 2 minutes left in the third, and Michigan beat Nebraska and we lost, but it wasn't like Michigan went there dominated. I mean, they won the game and they won it in decently convincing fashion, but it was a close game through and through. And I think that's about it indicative of the gap. Like Michigan is good enough to beat a team like Nebraska. They're a little bit better than Michigan State. Michigan State is struggling this year, so there's a big line, but I don't know. I maybe I'm just sound so biased, and I just think the guys in green and white, like that, if they like Coach Smith, like they hear the noise, they I think they'll show
Yeah.
up enough to make it competitive.
Yeah, and I truly feel like this is a real opportunity for both programs to try to get things going a little bit. I'm not saying that specifically because I don't think Michigan has things going for it, because obviously Michigan's had a good season so far. They've lost only 2 games, which I think if you ask Michigan fans, maybe it's a little bit of a disappointing year. Maybe you think you would have beat like a USC or something like that. I don't think a lot of people thought that Michigan was going to beat Oklahoma, especially with Bryce Underwood as the starting quarterback, a freshman at that time. But I think this is a real opportunity because there's a lot of conversations obviously being had about Jonathan Smith, right? Like, is he going to be back? Is he going to be fired? If you win this game, I truly think that you're going to not only buy back fans a little bit, but this could be a moment where things change a little bit. Because the one thing about rivalry games is that if you win this game, it's going to be remembered for a while. Like, it doesn't matter if Michigan's very good, it doesn't matter if MSU is very good. It's going to be remembered. This is going to be a conversation that's going to be had. And for the other coach as well, I truly think that this could truly impact whoever loses. Because if Jonathan Smith loses, there's a real conversation like, is he even going to make it to Minnesota? If Sharon Moore loses, there could be a conversation of saying, like, hey, could this be one loss that's kind of like that first warning sign that, hey, maybe things aren't going to work out in Sharon Moore because you're 14.5-point favorites. You should win this game. I think this is really going to be a test for both coaches. And I feel like whoever wins is going to gain a little bit of momentum and support from the fan base, and whoever's going to lose is going to start questioning that coach a little bit. I do think Jonathan Smith is obviously more on the hot seat, so I do think it's a bigger game for him specifically. But if Michigan loses to this MSU team, you have to probably admit Michigan's probably wondering what's Sharon Moore going to look like as the Michigan head coach.
100%. I think you're 100% correct. I think, honestly, I think at least a decent portion of the fan base already doesn't really think Sharon's going to be the guy to get them to national championship contention. I mean, maybe that's early. I feel like I've seen a decent amount of the social media fan base at least, and I know that's not the perfect representation, but that's why I said at least a portion. So no, I mean, I think there's definite pressure on Sharon Moore, and I think if Jonathan Smith doesn't feel like the walls are closing on him, he's a moron. Like he knows exactly what's happening. He's hurt. I mean, Tom Izzo had to come out in defense of him. That's how bad it got that quickly.
Yeah.
So I think you need, again, as Michigan, you're coming in here. You've last year was pretty close, but the guys that have been at Michigan have had their way with Michigan State, so they're coming in expecting a win, not expecting anything else. And then Michigan State, like you said, I mean, Smith may not make it to Minnesota if they get smoked, especially if they get smoked. So like you you got to think Smith, Lindgren, Rossi, and then every single player in the locker room are putting their best foot forward, because if they can't this week, it's going to be never in East Lansing.
Yeah, because this is truly like Jonathan Smith said, this is an opportunity to galvanize this team. Like, if you lose this game, like, what does this
Oof.
team have to look forward to? Like, you do have still an opportunity to make a bowl, but you're gonna have to beat Minnesota. You're gonna have to beat Iowa. You're gonna have to beat Penn State. You're gonna have to beat Maryland. You're gonna have to win 3 out of those 4
Yeah.
games. And when you have the season that you've had, it's really tough to keep a locker room. And I feel like this is the one opportunity that Jonathan Smith has to try to keep this locker room, or maybe he's like the best coach in the world of keeping a locker room. Because if you end up losing this game, I wouldn't blame a ton of players for just being like, hey, like this season's kind of lost. And I truly think that should be the calling card for Michigan State a little bit of saying, hey, this is almost our last stand. Like we are on like
It
the
is.
2 yard line.
Yeah.
If you allow a touchdown, it's over at this point. Now, technically, is it over? No, it's not. But like, you need to figure out an idea of how you're going to win this game, of how to attack Michigan. And you're going to have to figure out a way to stop this running attack for Michigan, because I think when Michigan is at their best offensively, because I think defensively, Michigan's still good. Do I think they're as elite as they have been? No. I think Washington kind of showed last week that this Michigan defense can still be really good. But it's about how Michigan State approaches this Michigan offense. Because when Michigan's really good, they're able to run the ball consistently. Justice Haynes might play, I don't know, 100%. I don't see any like 50-50. I don't know if he's going to play, but it's truly going to be about stopping the run and getting stops defensively. And going into that and thinking that, that's kind of a little bit of a scary situation, but maybe that's a little bit of a rallying cry and saying, hey, you know what? Things haven't been good, but you also look at what Michigan has. And I don't think what Michigan has is anywhere close to what Indiana had. I don't think what Michigan has is what Nebraska had. I think Michigan can maybe run the ball better than what Nebraska had, but I still think it's a young quarterback on the road that struggled on the road to be very, very good. You need to be able to put pressure on Bryce Underwood and make him make mistakes. And MSU has not been able to do that. Maybe this will galvanize them to do that.
Yeah, I mean, and they have Evan Link out there starting left tackle, but some may think that's a net positive for Michigan because he's really struggled according to Pro Football Focus. So, you know, I don't know if I would agree with you on Nebraska. I'd agree with you on like USC, not running the ball wise, but just as an overall offensive unit. I think yeah, I think if Michigan State, if the interior and the linebackers can find a way to limit Haynes if he's playing, to limit Marshall, to limit like just to an extent, like all you need to do is to give yourself a chance, you need to force Bryce to make some plays, like you say. And if a true freshman beats you, you kind of got to tip your hat, but you can't let Michigan come in here, run for 250, 300, and think you got a fighting chance.
Yeah, because if you look at the history of this rivalry, the team that runs for the most yards typically wins. And that I'm pretty sure that was pretty true last year. I don't know exactly 100% the stats that was last year, but it's truly about who's going to be the more physical team. It's going to be about Michigan's run game versus MSU's run game. It's going to be about MSU protecting Aiden Childs. And you saw last year in the first quarter and a half, like MSU dominated that game against Michigan. And it truly was small things here and there that truly kind of turned the tide a little bit. But if MSU can get out to a fast start, and I know I said this, I believe, last week against Indiana, that I thought that Michigan State should take the ball against Indiana. I don't necessarily believe that in this game. I think you truly have to kind of put your defense out there and just say, okay, if we can get a stop, if we can get a little bit of momentum, give the ball to Aiden Childs, let this offense go to work. If you do that and you put up 3 points, if you put up 7 points, you get the crowd going, that's going to be truly the moment and the time that MSU needs to attack. And you can't go down early. You can't let Michigan go up by 2 possessions, or if you do, you have to respond.
Yeah, I mean, I think that I agree with you on the cliche kind of like the more physical run team that's going to run the ball wins, and you've seen that statistically over the year. I sometimes I tend to think that's kind of just by nature, but it's doesn't matter right now. So I think what you got to do, because in reality, State probably isn't going to win the rushing battle. They can.
Probably not.
It's just hard to imagine a way they do, just because I feel like they're going to give up a significant amount. But if it's a close enough game to be competitive, and State's O-line, D-line are holding their own against the run and for the run against Michigan in that aspect. I think State has decent enough athletes on the edge this year on offense to where you can replicate kind of if you watch the USC game and against Michigan, Jada Mayava, Lincoln Riley called a lot of
Screen
quick
passes.
play, quick RPOs, get the
Yep.
ball out of Mayava's hands into their playmakers. Now, I love Nick Marsh. He's probably not Makai Lemon.
No.
And Omari Kelly, I love Omari Kelly. He's not really Jacoby Lane, but they they are good. They are good players. Treshawn McCray, good player. I think they can make some plays in space, and that's usually something that State doesn't really do when they win in the rivalry. But they can make some plays out wide, make some plays with space, have Marsh make a couple tough catches, and that could be a significant advantage for MSU. Because I agree with you on the run. I just think it's hard as a Michigan State for Michigan State's outlook. It's hard to see that leading to actually a win.
Yeah, because you could see when teams were able to attack this Michigan defense, you talked about kind of the quick passes that they do. They talked about the whole idea of speed in space. I haven't really seen Michigan State do speed in space like at all. And that's
That's the
something
thing.
that
That's the
Oregon
thing.
State did so much as you had guys like Krishan McCray that could use his speed. I think MSU needs to figure out a way to kind of adapt what Oregon State did. Now, do I think Oregon State had a more better run game? Do I think they had a better offensive line to approve on that? Yes, but like we haven't seen it.
They're
Like
also playing
where
worse
has it been?
comp.
Where has it been this year? Where's the speed and space? It hasn't happened. Maybe that's what this coaching staff wants to do is just not show
Yep.
any of that on film so that when they get to Michigan, they can show a little bit of it. Because when Washington was really good going down the field, lots of screen passes, lots of getting it to the wide receivers. That's what Oregon State did. And that's what Michigan State, I think, needs to do. I think they need to find a way to do it. And I love Nick Marsh. I love taking shots down the field, but just figure out how to pick up 3, 4, 5 yards at a time. Have one missed tackle. And if it's a Krishan McCray missed tackle, we're talking about 15, 20, 30, 40, 50 yards.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. I just think that's such a better game plan for Michigan State on Saturday than trying to expect our O-line and Mekhi Frazier to rip a 50-yard or a big play, 20, 30-yard run against Michigan's D-line that go to the NFL every year. Every year. So, I completely agree with you. You got to find a way to get back to and Oregon State was playing worse competition. I mean, they didn't probably see a defense. I
Yeah.
mean, they were good teams, but Michigan always has good defense. It's not crazy this year, but I think you got to find a way. Get the ball to McCray. I agree. I love McCray. He had great tape from Kent State. We haven't really gotten him that involved in a single game. I mean, he scored that opening touchdown at USC. Get him 6, 7. Get him 7 targets. Get Kelly the ball more than 1 or 2 times. Like I don't know. I think you nailed it on the head.
See, I think you kind of need to dink and dunk them to death, like just over and over and over again, and then let the safeties, let the corners kind of try to jump it, then make a double move, right? Like you might make a possible mistake, you might throw an interception, but like dink and dunk them until they bring up their safeties, until they bring up the corners, until they're going to be extremely aggressive. Then try to find a way to go over top on them. There's real possibilities for attacking this Michigan defense, and it's going to be truly about what Michigan State can do offensively. Can they get the ball out fast? Can they take advantage of opportunities when they can get it down the field? And can they protect Aiden Childs enough? Because I feel like, again, that defensive line, that front seven, you have to talk about guys like Cole Sullivan. He's been really great at finding the ball. Like, he's a guy that has multiple interceptions this year for Michigan. It's about trying to take advantage of things that you can win with, and MSU has not done that very well. And I think there's real opportunities in this game for MSU to do that. And I think with the mindset that this coaching staff has for MSU with Brian Lindgren, with just how much this game means to them, they need to approach it that way. And I feel like we're going to need to see that really early on. And for you, like, what do you need to see in like the first quarter, let's say first half overall, for you to believe that at the end of the night, Michigan State's going to be either right there where it might be a close loss or MSU has a real possibility of winning this game.
To be frank, just even a little amount of resistance in the run game, like for on defense, to stop their run at least a little bit or show like signs of life defensively. I think if you come out, this is obvious, but if you come out and give up two touchdowns, which is a real possibility, like that, you're so far behind the eight ball, and Michigan's one of those teams we all know. I mean, they're not a team that's easy to come back against just because of the nature of their team and their athletes. Like, so I don't know. I think a little resistance in the run game, and yeah, a willingness from Lindgren to open it up a little bit, to show more of that explosive offense that they had working better, at least in Corvallis.
Yeah, and prevent the big runs because when Michigan has been really
Yeah,
good offensively, it's been guys like Justice Haynes going
he
for a
rips
40,
one.
50-yard
Yeah,
touchdown, and
yeah,
there's the momentum gone at that point.
exactly.
Yeah,
No, just keep it
but
in front of you. I think you got to try to get the ball, try to fluster Bryce, and if he cooks you, he does. I mean, he has the talent to do it. I don't think he's like that polished yet by any means, but he can spin the football and he can also run when given the opportunity. So I think you got to make Bryce make some plays, limit the big play in the run game, show a little resistance, and open that thing up because that's probably your only shot. I know.
yeah, and also wouldn't it be nice to see Aiden Childs hit a deep shot? Like if he hits a deep
Yeah,
shot right
that's
in
the
this
other thing. I
game,
mean, that's why get it out of
you
your
never
hands
know.
quick, man. Don't even. Yeah, I we've missed a lot of deep shots all year.
Yeah. But hey, maybe I'll hit one in this game. We saw Aiden Childs kind of keep MSU in the game quite a bit in Ann Arbor. We also saw him have the fumble, kind of, I don't want to say necessarily lost the game. There's decisions that were made in the middle of the game that I thought lost MSU the game. But the biggest thing for me is just I want a competitive game, obviously. Um, I also don't want anything happening after the game. I'm kind of sick and tired of everything that's been happening after the game. Michigan State fans are going to blame Michigan. Michigan fans are going to blame MSU. At the end of the night, whoever wins, just go to the locker room, celebrate on the field. Whoever loses, do the exact opposite. I'm just sick and tired of all this stuff that happens after the field. I know there's obviously a ton of emotions that kind of go on. Like I said earlier, there's a ton of hate between both of these teams. It's elevated to specific stuff, and I just don't necessarily love seeing that. And I just hope that this year it kind of ends.
Yep. Oh, fair enough. I mean, yeah.
Yeah. But do you have anything else you want to add before we end? You have a score prediction or score result at this one, or do you just want to wrap up with
Yeah,
just one last thing you want to see?
I've done a biased and an unbiased score prediction before, but today there is no difference. No matter how unbiasedly I'd want to be, I'm not picking Michigan State to lose to Michigan, and in that case, State is going to win 31-28.
Late field goal?
31-28. Not it's not necessarily maybe. I don't know.
Maybe.
I think they're up somehow. They find their way up 31-21, and Michigan scores a touchdown. And I don't know. If we hold Michigan under 30, we've got a chance. And
Yeah, the under 30 is, I will see it when I will believe it. Sorry.
you'll
I
believe it
will
when you see
believe
it.
it when I
I
see
don't
it.
blame you. I don't blame you. That's why it's a shot. Let's do it.
He- Hey, you know what? That's what predictions are for. I'm actually going to kind of follow suit with you. I think MSU is going to defend Spartan Stadium. I think MSU is going to win. I think Jonathan Smith is going to use this as a moment to
He's
kind
got
of
it.
get the fan
He's
base
got it.
back. I, he's just so much more on the line, and if he wants any support from this fan base, he needs to figure out a way to win. And I truly think this is going to be maybe the ugliest win he's ever had. I'm going to go like something like 24, like 21, and complete ugly game where both offenses can't do anything throughout the game. You might get a touchdown here and there. I just think it's going to be a completely ugly looking brand of football. But you know what they say? As long as you win, that's all that matters.
It's all that matters. And is there any weather for us? Nah, I
I
mean,
don't
it's not
think
even
so.
really for state, honestly.
I was just going to say weather truly hasn't affected this football game very
It
much in the
probably,
past.
yeah. Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Yeah.
Go corn, baby. Yeah,
Unless
no, it
it's a
looks like it's gonna be
at least it's an absolute
46 and
downpour.
clear. 46 and clear at kickoff. Some football weather right there. That's what the weather
All
should be
football.
for this matchup.
Yeah, exactly. That's why it's late October. We love October football. That's when the meaningful games happen. And this is a really big game for both fan bases. This is a really big game for both teams. And we'll see who has the outright advantage, the outright pride going into next year after on Saturday.
Yeah, I mean, it's a whole season of trash talk, if nothing else.
Yep. And Michigan has had it for the last couple of years. And I know
Yep.
MSU really wants it back.
It needs to come back. It needs to come back.
Yep, absolutely. But yeah, we'll talk about the game after it happens. It'll probably be Sunday or Monday when we talk about it. We'll be back with the recap. We'll talk about how the game went, stuff like that. But if you enjoyed this preview, make sure to leave a like, subscribe, comment, all that kind of stuff. We obviously love talking MSU. We love talking about this rivalry. We'll talk more about this game coming up here shortly. It's going to be a good game, fascinating game. It's a rivalry game between, like I said, two teams that hate each other. I think that's going to continue. I think you're going to see some emotions in this game from the players, the coaches, the fan bases, and someone's going to be happy at the end of the night, and someone's going to be going home not thrilled. So hopefully it's a good game. Hopefully it's a competitive game. And whoever's listening to this that's a fan of whatever team, I'm sure you're hoping for a win of your team.
Drop in the comments. We got to see what we got.
I was just going to say, drop in the comments. I want to see what fan base
We got to see the
cheers
breakdown
for.
here. We got to, it better be green and white. Let's go.
Yeah, I'm truly interested to see who has more followers, Michigan State or Michigan, but it will definitely be out in Instagram as well. Maybe I'll make comments on there
Put
as
a poll
well.
in
But
there.
I was just going to say, put a poll in there. We'll put a poll on the story. We'll do all that
Not
kind
who
of
you,
stuff.
yeah. I like it. I like it.
Yeah, but thanks for everyone for tuning in. Make sure to tune in to the recap and have fun on Saturday, and it'll be a great game.
Go green.